Hello, today let's talk about one of the most recent products released by iFi. It's dongle digital to null converter GoLink, and looks like iFi decided to conquer even more affordable segment because recently they released a pretty good desktop digital to null converter, that compact iFi Uno that I reviewed some time ago, and now they released more affordable dongle digital to analog converter. They have portable digital to analog converter, pretty decent Go bar that I reviewed some time ago, and also they even released some premium version gold bar, but I haven't heard it, but it's really more expensive product. But now we talking about really back to the basics dongle. Price is $59 or 59 euros, and taking into account that it's iFi, they definitely squeezed some signature things here. And it's built with ES9219 Saber digital to analog converter, but it's a good example actually when same chip gives a different sound compared to different devices, but more on that later. You can see a lot of things mentioned here. The most interesting is their as balanced architecture inside. They have long paper on their website if you're interested, but basically it's like using regular amplifier to achieve better performance typical for the balanced solutions. And they even offer balanced out, but actually to use it you will need adapter, because here they used 4-pin 3.5mm connector, actually the same as was used by the hi-fi man in their first players. But also in the same socket you can insert just regular 3.5mm jack with 3 pins. As you can see, it actually supports all the highest resolution, delivers about 70 mW for 32 ohms load and 14 mW for 300 ohms load. Not super powerful, but at the same time it's pretty low in terms of power consumption. So if you have some sensitive in-ear monitors, it can be really good option for you. And actually it even supports MQA, but MQA is preparing for bankruptcy, so not sure will it be defining feature, and Tidal decides to get rid of MQA, so future of this format doesn't look super bright, but still it's like has some value. So inside of this thin and slim and stylish cardboard box we are getting like digital to analog converter itself, also silica gel. Actually let's shake it out here and here. I really like that level of sophistication they put into their package. And we getting USB type A to USB type C adapter, and even lightning to USB type C adapter that can be used with this digital to analog converter, and I assume with many other similar devices, so kind of useful extra accessory. Of course it increases the size of the connector. Probably it can be pushed further, no. It increases the size of the connector, but at the same time it's still a good option to use it with lightning port. And here it is. In terms of design it's really classical one without replaceable cable, but stock cable is pretty soft, so I really doubt that something will happen with it unless you pull really hard. And there are strain reliefs to protect it from breaking near the connector. USB Type-C connector looks stylish, but actually it's a bit on the bigger side of things. It's actually matching the size of the case, so it can be a bit problematic with some smartphones or tablets with USB Type-C in case without big opening, but in vast majority of situations it won't be a big issue. And totally like basic USB dongle DAC, small, compact. I usually compare it with my pinky, so it's smaller by all dimensions, and inside of it iFi put a lot of interesting things. Here is multicolored LED indicator that shows you resolution, and here you just connect your headphones and that's it. So really straightforward device, plug it to the source, plug headphones here, and you're ready to enjoy. Also here they implemented in hardware volume control, but actually to utilize it properly you will need some software that can manage it on the Android side. I usually use UAPP, and it has a possibility to control such devices. And of course about the sound, I built a small improvised setup with Noble Audio Han. They just here to be present on the table to look cool. I try this dongle with them and with many other headphones and earphones. Also Go-Link itself and FIO M11 Plus as a transport. Of course it doesn't make sense to use in particular M11 as a transport in practical life, because like 99% of people will use this dongle with smartphone, tablet or laptop or something without good sound quality. But my smartphone is busy filming this video, so I use M11 Plus because it works the same in transport role as Android smartphones, and I use UAPP, so it's definitely giving the same experience. And as I've said, UAPP is necessary for volume control, because UAPP intercepts this presses of the volume slider and adjust hardware volume on the device. And volume that is changed with this slider doesn't impact anything, because UAPP works directly with this digital to analog converter. So in terms of the sound, you know, it's a really fun example that goes against that widespread opinion that similar digital to analog converter chips meaning similar sound. Even with ESS 9219, iFi managed to create their own sound signature, and it's typically dense, pretty impactful with a bit of additional weight, but actually here, you know, I really like it. I'm not a fan of this coloration with other devices, but here I don't know why, probably because this coloration is less present, it gives me really impressive and enjoyable experience in terms of the sound. It's just hitting my taste here. I don't know why, to be honest, because I thought that I prefer more natural signature, but anyway. So bass here is pretty well controlled, like surprisingly for this size and weight, so definitely some of iFi amplification technologies, maybe even that as balanced, is working here, doing that stuff, because bass go deep, it's really good in rendering deep layers of bass, and in general it's good in terms of control. So there is a bit hint of additional weight, but not too much, and that additional weight doesn't reduce the impactfulness of the low frequencies. Of course, compared to more expensive device, bass here lacking a bit of that tiny small nuances, but in general it sounds like with nice texturing and good resolution. So giving you both punch when it's needed and the sense of realism when it's necessary. It slightly increases the size of real instruments, but it allows you to focus more on their small nuances. And actually, first example, it's kind of straightforward. I often use it, and it's Musica Nuda Libera. Version from Banda Larga album with a lot of accompanying instruments. And here, of course, present great double bass by Ferruccio Spinetti, and it represented nicely. And also it's pretty good with Petra Magoni vocals and other instruments that is present in this band. Mid frequencies are pretty well balanced, they sound organic and really musical. And there is a hint of added weight, but you know, it's not perceived as weighty mid frequencies because they have nice resolution without focus on the micro contrast, but still you getting like additional weight, but it doesn't spoil your sense of detalization. Of course, it's not focused on the micro contrast, so it's not a digital tonal converter if you want to like to deep to that smallest nuances and details to get analytical monitoring dry representation. No, it's organic, musical and really engaging, but at the same time, thanks to good dynamics, it doesn't sound relaxed. What is even more unusual, at least to me, it's a pretty spacious sound stage. It's above average in width and in depth with good positioning of instruments. Depth layering is nice, but transitions are a bit like blended, but still not a big issue, especially in the affordable price range. And that's, you know, pretty unusual because for me, warmer devices usually builds more intimate stage, but it's a pleasant exception. You know, I'm getting like really enjoyable sound signature, especially for the long listening sessions. But at the same time with good level of technicality and actually with good stage, so pretty interesting things that usually like mutually exclusive, but here somehow they are mixed together in one pretty unusual sound signature. And example for the mid frequencies, it's John Zorn, Chinatown, like great album, sometimes chaotic, sometimes ambient, and Chinatown is one of the most like normal tracks on it, because a lot of other tracks is like some kind of close to noise. But here you're getting, well, not super relaxed, but like calm music with great saxophone, and it all sounds like noir film soundtrack. Actually, this whole album created to be this way. And I like how it sounds, because some parts here are recorded pretty sharply and it slightly reduces the sharpness, and it sounds like at the same time pretty technical still, and in general it like gives you musical and enjoyable type of representation of this track. So it's a matter of taste. Some people can prefer more warmth or even more smoother representation, others can prefer something brighter. For me it's just hitting my sweet spot here. And the treble, actually it's pretty good in terms of extension, noticeably above average, but at the same time it's slightly reduced in terms of energy. It's not like super comfortable type of treble, but if you're really sensitive to high frequencies, it still can be too much. But in general, like for me, it sounds a bit more polite in the treble area, but at the same time it renders overtones pretty well. Percussion sounds really enjoyable and realistic, but sometimes it's lacking a bit of that airiness. But in exchange you're getting also pretty comfortable treble without harsh spikes or something like that. So if you sensitive to the treble but not super sensitive, just a little bit, it's a really great option. And despite my love to the treble, I find it trebly enough to satisfy me. Sometimes I wish for more, but actually I'm still okay with that because I like the other signature overall. And example here will be Postmodern Jukebox, Smells Like Teen Spirit, probably most classy version of this hit. And here you'll get great vocal, percussions. Actually it's not superb in terms of record quality, but still really well recorded. And actually this device represents this basic treble pretty well. Of course it's lacking a bit of overtones, especially to saturate the female vocal, but still it's pretty enjoyable here. In terms of driving power, of course, it's not super powerful device, but you know, even some full-size headphones, it drives pretty well. For example, I tried with Meze 109 Pro, and there is no sense of underdrivement in terms of power. Of course, it's lacking a bit of technicality, it's lacking better treble presence to drive them fully, but still result is pretty enjoyable. And with in-ear monitors it's absolutely no problems. Maybe expect some unusual models in terms of impedance and sensitivity, but with vast majority of in-ear monitors it performs well and actually has a really low background noise. Speaking about the comparisons, actually, and other iFi devices, you know, it's one of probably my most favorite implementation of iFi sound, because, you know, I like it more than, for example, Go Blue or Go Bar. I understand that they are more technical, they have like better staging and many things more, but somehow I like this signature bit more because it sounds more musical and more engaging to me. But of course it's just my subjective feelings. And FIO KA1, it's slightly more focused on the micro contrast on the mids and with bit more energetic treble, but with less sense of that analog sounding. iBasso DC03 Pro, it's more energetic, more focusing on emotions, it sounds really forward, and I like it for some short listening, but for the longer sessions this is my favorite choice. And actually what we've got, Shanling UA1S, if I remember the index correctly, it's even more warmer with more added weight, especially on the low frequencies, and this one is closer to neutrality a little bit. And as you can probably guess, I'm moving to ideas that in this affordable price tier, so far it's my best favorite dongle digital tonal converter, and you know, it's pretty surprising for me. But from another hand, iFi has a lot of experience with tuning, so maybe it's not that surprising. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.